Well, I welcome all of my followers, my thousands and thousands of YouTube watchers, local people that tune in to 103.3 FM. This is the Midnight Skeptic coming at you again, whether you're ready for it or not. Okay, this will be broadcast on Sunday, August 18th of this year, 2024, at the usual time, 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, on kpca.fm. That'll go out worldwide, and locally, 103.3 FM. That's for most of Sonoma County. I don't think it actually gets over the hills to the town of Sonoma, but most of the county can tune into this rant. And as soon as I get done with this, I'm going to download it to YouTube, and that's where all of my past efforts have been uploaded to. And there's some people coming out of the woodwork for the first time to watch on YouTube, The Midnight Skeptic, and slowly but surely, more and more people are listening to this. The Midnight Skeptic is jumping for joy as each poll that comes out shows Kamala Harris lead over the orange sociopathic bloat bag, widening. That is good news. I will more than welcome a new era in this country. Finally, it appears, and I hope that it's true, that the era of the MAGA heads will just kind of fade into the woodwork. There's going to be MAGA heads left, regardless of what happens, and they will come to be considered a subculture of the Republican Party or right-wing politics or conservative issues. It's the people that just gather periodically with their cowboy hats that are decorated like an American flag, and their windbreakers that are made out of American flags, and they'll still like Kid Rock and all the accoutrement of MAGA gatherings. They'll dwindle until there's probably 5% of the Republican Party that still will consider themselves MAGA heads, even after the orange sociopathic bloat bag has gone away, hopefully to prison. I mean, he deserves it, but anyway. Let's see, I'm off my notes already. Jeez. The new era in this country is going to feature a woman president, maybe for 2 terms even, and then who knows after that. And the demise of the MAGA culture, and I use that word loosely, they will be a powerless subculture, and the declining influence over the Republican Party of the fossil fuel industry. I should use more of my sound effects that my engineer set up for me here. I keep forgetting to use them all. But anyway, here's my play-in music. You are listening to KPCA LP, Petaluma, California, at 103.3 FM and worldwide at www.kpca.fm. And this is the Midnight Skeptic, The views of the Midnight Skeptic are not, repeat, not necessarily the views of KPCA or any of its affiliates. As I've said on previous shows, I try to say it in some way, shape, or form on every show now, that in my own small way, meaning this broadcast and the YouTube thing that I do, I hope to move along this country into a new, happy, joyful era without the orange sociopathic bloat bag being a part of it, or any conservative Republican now. The Republican Party used to be an actual political party with ideas that could be discussed with liberals or progressives such as myself. And, and people were allowed to vote on whether they wanted a Republican, state senator or a Democratic state senator or any other office. Those are the good old days, I think. And I'm trying to move this country along in my own small way to where a woman president is kind of just another president. It's the norm. And people will be happy and prosperous. And, the earth warming is an issue that can be dealt with by our government, and then whatever influence our government has on governments around the world. We've got to stop that somehow. And so, that's my wishful thinking, and I'm helping it along in my own small way. Okay, shout outs. I try to get through this as quickly as possible, but there are people that deserve to be shouted out to, and I would encourage all my listeners and watchers to check them out, such as Project Censored. And they come out every year with a new book, The State of the Free Press. The current one is 2024, but the 2025 one is at the printing shop right now. But go to their website and sign up for their newsletter. And the three dudes that are sort of guiding it along now are Mickey Huff, who's over at Diablo Valley College. He's a history professor. And I think he only teaches 2, maybe even 3 classes of history over there. He devotes most of his time to Project Censored. Nolan Higdon, who I see more and more frequently on the afternoon news shows, KPIX and KTVU, Channel 2 and Channel 5. They have him on a lot to discuss the current state of politics in this country. And then the third one is Andy Lee Roth. He's a professor at UC Santa Cruz. Those 3 guys are, plus their volunteers, are responsible for Project Censored. Okay, John Crowley here in Petaluma. And his Aquas Cafe that he started, I'm not sure of the year that it did start, but he's kind of created a community of artists, poets, writers, musicians, nonprofit organizations. I attended a dinner, I think it was 3 weeks ago now, 2 Thursdays ago, retired educators, and I was hoping to meet up with some of the educators that I know from my private tutoring days. They didn't show up, but I met some new people there. and he every 2 or maybe 3 months hosts a gathering of psychotherapists here in Petaluma. They all come out of the woodwork and analyze each other, I guess, or make jokes about the field of psychology. Anyway, I was hoping to meet up with, or the last one I attended, I hope to meet up with some therapists that I've come to know over the years, and they didn't show up either, but I met some interesting people there. Okay, so, and then Tom Gaffey, who is the director, or I don't know what his actual title is, but he is the godfather of the Phoenix Theater here in town, which is a gathering spot for alternative teens. And skateboarders gather there in the afternoons, and they've taken out the seats in the lower level of the Phoenix Theater and installed skateboard ramps. And occasionally, a local skateboarder, her name is Mina Stess, Stess. She's good enough to have made the United States skateboarding team, women's team, and she went over to Paris for the Olympics, and she didn't do all that well, but she's only 18, and there's always Los Angeles in 2028. So good effort, Mina. Okay, and Ralph Scott, who is a audio book, I don't know what you call him, publisher or recorder, or anyway, his company is Squeaky Cheese Productions, LLC, and he's hired by authors who want their books, printed books, to be recorded for audio sales. So that's what he does. And he was also, in the past, sort of the godfather of the Petaluma Radio Players, of which I was a member. I met him down at Petaluma Community Access when they were very first starting up the radio station. And he overheard me say that, well, I could do a radio show. This was to Rob Tomaszewski, the station manager, who was going around to all the kids. Well, they're in their 20s, but they all viewed themselves as DJs, wanting a time slot on this new KPCA LP radio station. And he overheard me talking to Rob, and he approached me and said, hey, why don't you come down and audition for a part in our recreation of some radio plays? And his outfit was called the Petaluma Radio Players at that time. And so I did, and I was with them for about 3 or 4 years. We put on some live radio play recreations, and a couple of them we performed at the Hotel Petaluma in their ballroom. And it has since gone the way of all COVID-19 close downs. And that's my housemate going up the stairs in the background. Hey, Nick. Okay, and okay, so that's that. And then the rest of the shout outs, just real quick. Okay, I lost my place here. Dave and Rosita Takach in Sacramento, Rick and Kathy in Sebastopol, Nariman. He and I used to play basketball a long time ago at Mill Valley Middle School. Tim Conrad, who was in my high school class up in Sonora. Dennis and Megan, welcome back, Dennis and Megan. They were on vacation in Hawaii, and they were due back today. Yvonne and Rick in San Francisco, Stan and Kathy In Pacifica, Stan is the retired city attorney of the town of Daly City. One of the smartest guys I've ever known in my life. Uh, Aunt Jackie and Samantha and Melanie, who is now living in Austin, Texas, her two daughters. My brother Brandon and Mina in Arizona, and their daughter, Andrea, who's a nurse. She's my niece, and they all live around the Santan Valley area, just outside of Phoenix. And she's married to Tim, a retired Marine, booyah, and their three little boys. Okay, and in Patagonia, Arizona, Corina Hilliard, the animal control officer, and Arkansas, Shannon Reed, and in Florida, Nelson and Alice Lydell. Nelson was also in my high school class. He's a retired United States Public Health Service officer, and his specialty was breathing apparatuses and face masks, which during the COVID outbreak, he was asked on a number of occasions to evaluate the efficacy of facial masks. Okay, and Amelia Beamer. Okay, she is associated with Locus Magazine, Locus, and they're over in Oakland, across the bay from here. And she's on YouTube as well, and she lets us all know on her YouTube page what Locus Magazine is going to be reviewing this month of the three genres of science fiction, horror, and fantasy. Okay. Dr. Dave in Raleigh-Durham area. I hope you survived this latest hurricane that came up there. Anyway, he's the world's greatest pulmonary physician, and he's retired, and he's doing art now, painting and other means of expressing his rather unique view of reality. And he's associated with the Lost Art Collective up in Chicago. I think he's back by now. I don't know. I'll have to call him up and find out. Further up the coast, Geraldine Goldfinger in Long Island. And back on the West Coast, Sonora crowd, Robert Finnegan, Bob and Sandy Fisher, and their two children, Brad and Martha. Darrell Larson, Sonora High's bronc riding that was his thing. He did play football, I think, and basketball, but he's most known for being a bronc rider in rodeos. Okay. Judy May, Kathy Francis, Lynn Quayle, John Gleason, further up Highway 108 to Twain Harte. His two daughters, Tiffany and Jennifer, they listen in occasionally. And then all the way down in Mexico City is Rosamalia Lopez Negrete. Okay. Here's a recommendation, and I'm going to incorporate these recommendations into all of my future shows. Okay. I stumbled upon, 3-4 weeks ago, this young Dutch singer. She was 15 at the time when I first saw her on YouTube, singing with, Andre Rieu and his Johann Strauss Orchestra. She was singing with him, and she was singing a song called Voila, Voila, little accent over the A. And that word translates into, here it is, okay, in French. Okay. And if you expand the definition of voila, it means here I am with all my faults, with all my infirmities, with all my things that make me who I am. Voila, here I am. And her name is Emma Koch, K-O-K. And she, at the age of 12, won a TV show in Netherlands called Voice Kids. And it's kind of like shows we get here in the United States that give unknown talent a chance to present themselves to the Dutch populace or whoever watches the show. Okay, and it just blew me away, and so I kind of follow her now, and unfortunately, she has this condition called gastroparesis, which is her stomach muscles are paralyzed. She can't eat. And I don't know the full medical history of her or anything, or when it was diagnosed, but the way she even gets nutrients in her system is through a tube and a medical looking device that has, I assume, soup of some kind in it, but it goes directly into a little tube that goes directly into the beginning of her small intestine. Boy, and she seems to have accepted her condition. And her mom and dad were both musicians in Holland or the Netherlands. And so anyway, I saw her sing the song Voila. And I encourage all of my listeners and YouTube viewers out there to Google Emma, E-M-M-A, K-O-K, Coke. And then voila. And see if it doesn't also blow you away. And the audience that was part of this YouTube thing were all, without exception, visibly moved by this performance. So I encourage you to check it out. And then another song that she's sung that has gone viral is Dancing on the Stars. And it's the with the same orchestra, Andre Rieu, capital R-I-E-U, and his Johann Strauss Orchestra. But it's great. And what else? She sang, the song Warrior that was written by Demi Lovato. That was what she sang on this show, Voice Kids. And she won the contest easily. Okay? So enough of that. Emma Koch. Check her out. Okay. Good news things I forgot to mention from last week's show. Megyn Kelly, who was on Fox News. I think she has her own show now. I'm not sure what channel or streaming service it is. But Megyn Kelly is part of the anti-trans hate machine. even though the athlete that she was railing against is not transgender. Imane Khalif, the Algerian boxer, she was going off on her, strictly on her looks. And she does look a bit masculine. But so what? She's not transgender. But that doesn't stop Megyn Kelly from hating on her. Anyway, at the Olympics, Imane Khalif won the gold medal for the 66 kilogram group in women's boxing, which translates to 146 pounds in American parlance. And she won gold at this Olympics. The previous Olympics in Tokyo, she lost her second bout. So she has improved since then. Okay? And let's see. I emphasize that Iman Khalif, who's a hero now in Algeria, she's not transgender. She was judged by the right-wing hate machine here in this country, meaning Fox News and Trump, and I didn't mean Trump. I meant the orange sociopathic bloat bag and his lapdog Vance. They're just ignorant about transgender issues. And there really isn't that many transgendered people, percentage-wise, in this country. But that doesn't stop the MAGA heads and conservatives and J.K. Rowling from trying to spread fear about trans people. Okay, enough of that. Megyn Kelly also went off on Tim Walz and she called him Tampon Tim. And because in Minnesota, he had all of the high school and middle school locker rooms install tampon dispensers. And Fox News talking ignorant heads and Megyn Kelly went off on him for that. Can you believe that Tim Walz had tampon dispensers in the boys' bathrooms? Well, the reality is girls' athletic teams sometimes have to use the boys' restrooms and locker rooms because there's just not enough room. But they always lock the doors and station a PE teacher or somebody to make sure boys don't go in there while the girls' teams are in there. So they do serve a purpose, but that doesn't stop Republicans from railing against it and spreading hate. Okay. Okay, I need a sip. Ranting is hard on the throat. Okay, good news locally. Amit Elor, who is 20, a female wrestler, and she's from Walnut Creek. That's a town that's over across the bay here. She won gold in women's wrestling. And I remember going back to the mid-70s and up through the mid-90s for a span of about 20 years when That would have been unheard of. Only boys can be wrestlers. Girls should be cheerleaders and just look pretty. Wow, 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 wow. That's the that's the new era that's coming around in this country. Thank goodness. All right. And I wish her luck. She will be on the team for the Los Angeles um, Olympics in 2028. Okay. Good news. There's a journalist, Rose Eveleth, and I'll spell it for you. Capital Eveleth. Okay. She has a podcast called Tested, and it's a 6-part podcast about the history of gender testing in elite sports. And, she mentions Imani Khalif. And there was, in addition to Imani, the Algerian, there was a Taiwanese boxer, Lin Yu Ting, who boxed in the 57 kilogram category, which translates to 126 pounds. You guys I encourage you to check all this out online. The IBA last year, before the Olympics, disqualified Imani and Lin Yu Ting from the World Championships. Okay, well, the International Olympic Committee discontinued any association with IBA, which is a Russian-backed organization that supposedly runs world boxing championships. Okay, they disqualified Lin Yu Ting and Imani for very dubious testing, and they have not presented any firm evidence of what they were talking about. Religious conservatives, Christian nationalists, MAGA heads, conservatives, Republicans are just more comfortable categorizing humanity. But humans are messy and complicated, and they don't fit into neat black and white categories. And they find it hard to deal with that. Okay? That's one of the reasons that I look down on MAGA heads and Christian nationalists. Okay. Whew. Enough of that. Okay. A stupid quote from Governor Sarah Huckabee of Arkansas. Okay. This is a direct quote. We, meaning the MAGA heads and Republicans, we will make sure that when a kid is in the womb, they are as safe as they are in a classroom. Isn't that a bit ironic? Kids, especially in Republican states, are just not all that safe in classrooms. What with lack of gun control or AK-47s floating around this country like snowflakes. Whew. She is as stupid as that quote makes her seem. Okay. Another recommendation, watch on YouTube Trey Crowder, capital T-R-E-A, Crowder, capital C-R-O-W-D-E-R's, his take on Tim Walz. He is a comedian, and he bills himself as the liberal redneck. He's one of my favorite comedians, and I ran across that a couple of weeks ago, and I posted it briefly on my Facebook page. And but I encourage all of my watchers and listeners to check him out. Okay, bad news. Project 2025, on a number of their propositions, seems to obsess over reverse racism. Any gains for blacks amounts to racism against white people, which they view as a zero-sum game. They rail against DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. Republicans just hate those things. We don't need diversity. There's too many foreigners and immigrants in this country as it is. Okay. Stupid Republican news. A new Gallup poll finds that 31% of Republicans say vaccines are more dangerous than the diseases they prevent. In 2019, 52% of Republicans said it was extremely important for parents to get their children vaccinated for school. Now, that figure is down to 26%. This is the orange sociopathic bloat bag effect, which he encourages no trust in science or medicine or voting in this country. The followers of the orange sociopathic bloat bag, the MAGA heads, spread distrust in almost all institutions in this country. And during the height of the COVID-19 outbreak, they vilified the CDC and brain freeze time. Anyway, they just tore down the trust in all these institutions, which is step one of getting the orange sociopathic bloat bag back into the White House. Anthony Fauci. They just vilified this poor guy who is retiring from the CDC now. Okay. Ranting. It I don't think it harms the throat, but it certainly dries it out. Okay. Good news. Minnesota has won a lawsuit against Walmart and Reynolds Consumer Products. They've agreed to stop selling certain plastic bags that they had marketed as recyclable. Reynolds makes the blue or clear 13 and 30 gallon sized hefty brand plastic bags that Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison targeted for false marketing. The bags are not recyclable. Plastic bags, whether the small grocery kind or the larger bags, are just not recyclable. So, more and more lawsuits are being filed against plastics manufacturers. Plastics are made with thousands of chemicals and were never designed to be recycled. Back when in the 50s, in the late 40s, when plastics became a thing, the chemists and manufacturers who made all of these things, single use bottles and plastic bags, they were never designed originally to be recycled. But that wouldn't stop them for trying to convince a gullible public that it's the consumer's fault for not recycling things. Okay. I noodle around on Quora, Quora digest now and then. And this one Quora person, and it's become a site for Trumpers and religious fanatics. But anyway, this person asks, why can't Donald Trump, aka the orange sociopathic bloat bag, this person didn't add that, I'm adding it, why can't he stand up straight? Why is he always leaning forward? Okay. And then whoever it was that answered him said, the answer, the orange sociopathic bloat bag wears 3-inch silicone lifts in his shoes to make him seem taller. From all accounts, the orange sociopathic bloat bag is somewhere between 5'11" and 6 feet tall. His standing next to his son Eric, who is 6'4", he really looks 3 or 4 inches shorter than Eric. The lifts that he wears cause him to need assistance going up and down ramps. And after one of his rants or speeches that he gave to his adoring followers, there was a shot of him being helped down a ramp by a military person of some sort, and the lifts in his shoes make it difficult for him to go down ramps. And he's always kind of leaning forward a little bit. That's because of the lifts to assuage his ego, his fragile ego. Okay. Fact-checked lies from the orange sociopathic bloat bags, J.D. eyeliner Vance. Harris has said it's reasonable to have children. Oh boy. Oh. Sorry. It's reasonable. This is a quote from Harris. It's reasonable not to have children over concerns about climate change. She did not say this. And Vance, however, did say that Kamala was one of those childless cat ladies who are miserable in their own lives, and they want to make the rest of the country miserable too. What a hate monger that creep is. How did he ever win the Senate race in Ohio? Okay, these are all fear points that are spread largely by right-wing media, specifically Fox Fox spews, quote, "She wants to take away our gas stoves." Well, no, nobody said that. And they were accusing Biden of wanting to take away our gas stoves. And gas stoves do, in fact, put out some pollutants that are kind of dangerous for us to breathe. But nobody was proposing taking away our gas stoves. And Fox News made a big deal about jackbooted military people coming in and ripping the gas stoves out of our houses. Rah, rah, rah. Okay. This is a Fox Spews manufactured controversy after the CPSC, Consumer Products Safety Commission, said that gas stoves were a quote-unquote hidden hazard because of their pollution. And then Fox News, in a hysterical panic, jumped on this and said they're coming for our gas stoves. They're coming to take them away. They're coming to take them away. Ha ha, ho ho, hee. All right. You remember that song from back in I don't know, it was around the turn of the century, 20 to 21, that song. It was a cute song. They're coming to take me away. Okay, this is another false quote. Well, this is a quote from Fox News. Quote, "She even wants to take away your ability to eat red meat." Oh, no. Okay, and that's not true. And they say that's how out there she is, which is false. The orange sociopathic bloat bag added in, "She wants to get rid of cows." This is an example of how stupid and gullible they think the MAGA heads are. Well, they are that stupid. And gullible. All right. Good news from Florida. Senator Rick Scott is vulnerable to losing his Senate seat to Debbie Muscoville Powell. It's a hyphenated last name. His approval numbers are underwater at 43%. He's for a national abortion ban and wants to be Senate Majority Leader after the current one. Well, if the Republicans gain a majority, oh boy, Florida, get rid of Rick Scott. Just get rid of that creep. Okay, good news, and let's see. I got 3 good news in a row here to end the show with. Good news. Stupid-ass Republican MAGAs and Fox Spews talking heads call Vice President nominee, Democratic nominee, Tampon Tim. I think I mentioned this before. To try to smear him because tampon dispensers were put into all high school and middle school locker rooms in Minnesota. He's the governor there. Okay, but all over the country, all the time, girls' sports teams are put into boys' restrooms and locker rooms because there's not that much space, okay? It's a standard procedure for away teams. Also, freshmen and sophomore use boys' locker rooms during practice because there's more space. All right. Outside doors are locked, and a PE teacher or an assistant team manager will be posted next to the door to make sure that boys don't go in there while the girls' teams are in there. Ask any female swimmer why tampons and not pads, too. Okay? And it's just ignorance on the part of Fox News talking ignorant heads. It's just really. Okay. Good delayed news. This is the 50th anniversary of a woman being able to get a credit card without a man's signature. So, let's see, 2024. Okay. Okay, this is a call coming in. Okay, and my phone said it's a telemarketer, so it's I'm not answering it. Okay, Indiana. Okay, this is the last good news to end the show with. Indiana Attorney General Todd Rokita has finally, after 2 years, dropped a lawsuit against Indiana University Medical Center after 2 years and has stopped his crusade against Caitlin Bernard. And this is kind of an update of an item that I talked about 2 years ago. Caitlin Bernard, medical doctor, is an OB-GYN in Indiana. And the reason he was going after her was she gave an abortion to a 10-year-old girl who was raped in Ohio. And she could not get, well, she was pregnant. She was about 3 months and a couple of days pregnant when she realized, or her mother or somebody realized, that she was pregnant. But in Ohio, she could not get an abortion. So somebody, a relative or friend, took her across the border to Indiana, who at that time allowed abortions. They've since changed their laws to, Republicans have succeeded in making life difficult. Okay, anyway, this 10-year-old girl got an abortion from Caitlin Bernard, who was a doctor at Indiana University Medical Center. Now, this horrible person who was the Attorney General of Indiana, Todd Rokita, took it upon himself to file a lawsuit against Caitlin Bernard and the Indiana University Medical Center for giving this poor girl an abortion. Well, finally, it's been dropped by a federal judge in Indiana, and Todd Rokita should be, I don't know, disbarred, I think, and guys like him we will be seeing all over this country if the orange sociopathic bloat bag wins the election, which he's not going to. But We just can't let them institute Project 2025. Okay? Well, so much for another rant. Here's my play out music. You have been listening to The Midnight Skeptic on KPCA LP, Petaluma, California. And we're at 103.3 on the FM dial and worldwide at www.kpca.fm. Support community radio at patreon.com/Petaluma Community Access. And remember, think critically, think logically, but live joyously, and most importantly, pet your cats. I no longer have a cat to pet. My Sasha passed away about 6 months ago, but I've been able to pet her sister down in Marin, because I was watching Nancy the cat while Megan and Dennis were in Hawaii. Okay? So that's it for another rant. And remember, go look up Emma Koch, K-O-K, and her rendition of Voila. Okay? And I will see you next week again, and I will be ranting at you next week, and it will be the Democratic convention all next week, most of next week. And this is the first step toward ridding this country of all MAGA heads, the orange sociopathic bloat bag, and others of his followers. Republicans, just go away. All right? Until next week, that is it.